Does a digital twin cost money?
No, they're free. Yes, they do. They do.
Everything is
They do
constructed,
cost
right?
money. Um, but again, if you're in the serial building business, you can set up standards and guidelines around that minimize that cost. You're still going to pay an architect and an engineer to develop a BIM model.
Correct.
You're still going to ask the construction team to build fabrication models, and you're still going to ask them to do spooling drawings and all the associated data points that come out of that. You're still going to ask them to build the building at the end of the day. But if you start with the end in mind, and you align that data the right way to begin with, then it flows seamlessly from one silo to the next silo or the next group to the next group. And at the end of the day, you have something useful. You never want to go back and say, I want to create a digital twin after the building's been completed and it's been 5 years down the road. And now I want to start building a digital twin of my existing,
Yeah.
structure.
Way too
You
complicated to go back.
It's much more complicated to go back. And at that point, we would recommend that there are other ways of going about creating a digital twin. At that point, you may do something with reality capture and then overlaying that data in with some BIM data or some BIM program where that's being updated and you're digitizing the assets in a different way.
Yeah. And what I'm also seeing too on the construction side is that in talking with the different subcontractors and designers is that we're changing people's way of delivering a product, right? Like we are all used to delivering. If I'm a designer, I'm going to put together 100% CD spec and then I'm going to hand it over. And a contractor, I'm going to do these things and then hand it over. And now we're asking to change that process. So I'm noticing that there's a lot of just training, and that training costs time and money just in terms of understanding even what the deliverables are. I think there's a huge process, again, for the owner side or whoever is requesting the digital twin, whether for a building or something else in general. It's understanding what it is and then developing a process for how to get there. And yeah, it's gonna come down to training people on how to do these new processes until it becomes second nature.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I talk about the client that we worked with at one point where they had created all the BIM models. The design team had created all the BIM models. The construction team had created all the BIM models. The owner gets the models and says to the design team, "Can you just print those out onto paper?" And the tremendous amount of effort that went into coordinating building and everything else, and you threw it away in a building that's being actively modified all the time. You really could have kept that data, managed it, and been able to use it in those modifications later. So there is a hidden cost that can't be realized when you do something like that, right?
Right.
So yes, there is a cost to building digital twins for sure.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
why not align it right from the beginning when you're doing your modeling all the way through into construction? If you align
Yeah.
that the right way, it doesn't really cost much more than what you already spent.
Yeah, you can definitely minimize that impact, and it's that process impact and all of that. If you definitely have a plan and you enroll the right people, and like you said, hire a consultant because it can be so complicated. It can be so easy to sort of get lost along the way and trying to keep an eye on the prize, right? It can be difficult.
Absolutely.